It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Your emails as well at randykabc@gmail.com, and search for the KABC News Blitz wherever you get your podcasts. And give us a subscribe. Give us a follow. I travel quite a bit. I think I would love to be traveling even more, but I have a job. But I love traveling. I love going to different destinations. I love going to my favorite places with my wife and her family. I'm sure you're well aware, I go to Santa Fe like 4 or 5 times a year. I go to Dallas 2 or 3 times a year. And then we try to travel, to other places as well. But those get hit a lot because that's where my wife's family is. And usually when we're flying to other parts of the American Southwest, we're flying Southwest Airlines. I have been a loyal Southwest Airlines customer for over a decade now. I didn't really fly before I met my wife, so I couldn't tell you what I used to do. But we fly Southwest almost exclusively for those flights, and mostly because those are the routes that make the most sense for us. Southwest is the only airline that has a direct flight from Burbank Airport to Albuquerque Airport. I love that. This doesn't really matter, but it makes no sense to me that there are no airlines that fly direct from either LAX or Burbank to the Santa Fe Airport, but that's neither here nor there. That's okay. Albuquerque Airport is an hour away from Santa Fe. It's all right. So we fly that route a lot. And gosh, right when my wife and I first got together is when Southwest added the Burbank Airport to Dallas Love Field flight. A direct flight once a day from the airport that is 20 minutes away from our house to the airport that is 15 minutes away from my wife's parents' house. So we use that a lot. I've got the Southwest credit card. I have been in that Southwest experience so many times where you think it's not a totally full flight. So the wife's in the window seat, I'm in the aisle seat, and you're sitting there with your head down just praying the flight's not completely full so that middle seat can just stay empty. Otherwise, I'll scoot over. But it's nice, especially, oh boy, those like that first year when people started to fly after COVID started, where like you couldn't have anyone sit in the middle seat. That was some luxurious Southwestern then, but the Southwest experience is you get packed in like cattle. It's a short flight, but there are certain things that Southwest does that makes you appreciate the airline, at least from a marketing standpoint. I was a big fan of the fact that Southwest doesn't charge you fees to change your flight because, flight changes happen constantly. Your schedule changes constantly. I think a lot of the airlines soften those policies after COVID because people get sick or people's plans change. But Southwest was always really good about that. And it always tried to show that customer service was the reason that you went to Southwest. The flight attendants all try their hand at stand-up comedy. Some of them are legitimately funny. Some of them are not, but it's never to the point where it bothers you. And things like the bag policy were something I could always say, well, I like that. I like that about this company. I like that whether I'm traveling for a quick weekend to Santa Fe or I'm spending 10 days in Dallas with the wife's family, I get 2 bags for free. And that's for me, and that's for my wife. And then we could take the little backpack on the plane, and then we got the little carrier with our little doggies. It's good times, and we can bring enough clothing to get through a harsh Dallas winter, although sometimes a Dallas winter is kind of mild. Sometimes it just rains. Texas weather is weird. Santa Fe can get real cold. But when we went for New Year's, it was pretty nice. But still, you want to, when you're traveling for winter, you're going to need a lot of options. So sometimes you need a couple of suitcases. And it was just nice to know that the price we paid for the price that we paid for the flight, whether it was with dollars or whether it was with miles, we knew that was the fee. Now, of course, There are other ways that Southwest makes a little money that's a little different. If you've never flown Southwest before, maybe you're not aware that they have a very weird seating policy. Every single other airline, you buy a ticket and then you pick your seat. And some airlines, they charge you more depending on if you want a more preferable seat, like you want all the way in the front, or you want to be in the emergency row where you get that little bit of extra leg room. Of course, if you're a real pro, you know if you're ever flying into Burbank, you want to sit in the back of the plane because they deplane out there, and it's beautiful. I love that airport, and I'm very excited to see what happens when they expand on it because it is such a convenient airport, and it has so many convenient routes for me, and not going to LAX takes a lot of the just angst and dread out of travel. But that airport could use a couple more bars, a couple restaurants, maybe a lounge. And I know they're working on stuff. The new terminal is supposed to open next year, maybe the year after. But Southwest, you buy your ticket, and then you have the option to buy the early bird. So let's say your ticket going from LA to Phoenix or LA to Vegas or Burbank to Vegas was $150. It's $150 if you are okay with maybe a middle seat, definitely not a row to yourself. But if you want first dibs at which row you want to make sure you definitely have overhead bin space for your bag, you want to buy that early bird. Get you guaranteed into Group A. And I think when my wife and I first started flying Southwest over a decade ago, Group A was $20 on top of the ticket price, which is nothing. I mean, it's a sawbuck. It's not important. Over the years, that has went to $25, to $30, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure the last time I booked a ticket, it was $35. So take whatever your base fare is for your want-to-getaway fee, and you're going to add $35 on top of that. But that's okay, because you get in that boarding Group A, you feel real good. In fact, on the day of the flight, you can even upgrade on top of that to A1 through 15 for reasons, for like an extra $30, which is not super necessary. But if you happen to have the credit card that I have, they give you like 4 of those for free a year. So on a really, really, really busy holiday flight, maybe it's worth it. But again, that's like the only way they were nickel and diming you. But that has all changed. Southwest has completely changed their business model, and they're facing some real headwinds. Southwest is facing a lot of profitability problems ever since the COVID pandemic. And what specifically is it? I don't know. The low-cost air carriers are having a lot of issues because the higher-cost air carriers and the traditional air carriers started offering a lot more flights and started doing a lot more things to stay competitive. And now, to the average investor, it looks like Southwest is falling behind because they're not doing all the things that the other airlines make so much money on. So about 6 months ago, Southwest announced starting maybe around June of this year, they're getting rid of the you sit wherever you want policy. And they're not going to make every single row cattle steerage. They're going to have some rows that have that little 3 inches of extra leg room. You know, the other airlines might call it Economy Plus or Comfort Plus, or it's what the legroom used to be before they decided to add another row. I know Southwest did that. I know American did that, but you know, that's what these things do. But they now are going to have a policy where you have to pick which seat you're going to go to, which means I'm not going to be able to use my trick anymore of getting that extra middle row seat because I don't want to have the situation where now somebody who's a stranger is sitting in between me and my wife. So I'm going to have to book that middle seat, whatever. And maybe depending on how much more expensive it is, we'll go for that leg room. But I was still on board with Southwest. I still have the credit card. I mean, I actually have several airline credit cards. I wouldn't say it's a problem, but the more airline credit cards that I use, because I don't use the credit cards except to get the bonus, and the fees are pretty minimal. I have like a ridiculously high credit score right now. So it's working out for me. And there are certain perks you get with all the credit cards. The Southwest one being, I think once a year, they give you 4 drink coupons, which, pro tip, because I learned this recently, We flew JSX, which I love JSX. And if they had more routes to more places that we go to, we'd fly them all the time. But we flew JSX from Burbank to Monterey when we spent Labor Day weekend in Carmel. And JSX on board gives you free cocktails. And the thing that they specialize in, because they're based out of Texas, is the JSX Ranch water, where they give you tequila, they give you soda water, and they give you a little packet of that. You ever seen that True Lime, where it's like a lime wedge in powder form? It's like a ranch water on the plane. Turns out, we learned this on our last trip from Dallas just a few weeks ago, Southwest has those packets too if you know to ask for them. So yeah, you can have a ranch water margarita while you're flying from Dallas to Burbank. So, as I have described over the last 10 minutes, I've been a big fan of Southwest Airlines for a long time. I used to exclusively put all my purchases on that card so I'd have a lot of Rapid Rewards miles, their frequent flyer program, and we'd fly for free 2 or 3 times a year. And I will say, the nickel and diming on certain aspects of Southwest hasn't just been that they increase the prices of the early bird special to get you that first A group boarding. They also have devalued the points in their frequent flyer program over and over and over again. Because while 10 years ago, I was able to get 3, 4, maybe 5 flights for my wife and I a year based on my purchases, now it's less. It used to be like a mile flight would be 4,000 points. Now it's like 7,000. And usually it's higher. It's like 11,000. So the points don't go nearly as far as they do. And the cost of the flights have gone up. But everything has gone up. That's understandable. Even jet fuel has gone up. And I almost feel like that would hurt less, just the base fares going up, than what Southwest announced today. Because Southwest announced today that a policy they've had since the airline started more than 50 years ago will be going away at the end of May. And that is 2 bags fly free. Literally all of their branding is based around that we don't charge you for bags the way the other airlines do. And that marketing has worked very well on me because it made me think of Southwest in a very good light. And if Southwest does not have that, and they changed their seating policy, and they're also now adding a basic no-frills fare that will charge you for change fees and have non-changeable tickets, what exactly separates Southwest from all of the other airlines? Not a whole lot. For more on Southwest Airlines changing their bag policy that has made them, at least to people that fly that airline, kind of a delight, and having a fan base feels like a little bit of a backstabbing. Here is CBS Mornings.
New this morning, CBS News has learned of a big shift from Southwest Airlines. Starting May 28th, the company will start charging for some checked bags. Oh, no, that's the first time in nearly...
Even Gail's upset.
Oh, no, that's...
Poor Gail.
Oh, no, that's the first time in nearly 50...
She's going in a spaceship this year.
54-year history this has happened. Chris Van Cleve has the details.
Pack all the things.
Bags Fly Free has been at the heart of Southwest Airlines. But just in time for summer, many checked bags will soon fly with a fee. Only Southwest...
This is such a junk fee system, and it's something that I always hated about the other airlines, is that the ticket price really isn't the ticket price, because who's traveling without luggage? I mean, heck, you've got the base fare on certain airlines like Spirit where you can't even bring a carry-on. Like, what are you supposed to do? Just travel with the clothes on your back? Maybe some people do that if you're just going to Vegas for the day because you got a gambling Jones that's real big. But now the ticket price isn't the ticket price. It's so much more than that. And depending on how much luggage, it can go up and up and up and up and up. And I'm not a fan of that. And I've also noticed this because I do fly American from time to time. And on American, if you've ever, and I've seen this at LAX, but specifically I've seen this at Burbank, because the main flyers out of Burbank in the first terminal are Southwest and American. There's a Delta every now and then. There's a United every now and then. There's an Alaska every now and then. But it's mostly American Airlines and it's mostly Southwest Airlines. And when you're flying on American and you're in like boarding group 6, because, you don't have the credit card. You should get the credit card. And then you get boarding group 4, or now I have the credit card where I think I get boarding group free and I get Admirals Club, but that only works if I go to LAX. So it's kind of like I have to go to LAX, but I can go to the Admirals Club. So it's not really worth it, but it's less painful. But constantly you hear on the overbed, we're not going to have enough bin space for everybody because now everyone's trying to carry on their bag because they don't want to pay to check the bag. And so then they have to go through this over and over again on the intercom. We need somebody that will be volunteering to put their bag away. They'll be volunteering to check their bag. I guess they don't charge you at that point, but it always seemed like, wow, Southwest really has it together because there are sometimes fights over bin space, but not nearly as much as the other airlines because they don't charge you for bags. Well, not any longer.
Only Southwest's most elite A-list preferred flyers and those booking its priciest Business Select fares will get 2 free checked bags.
And Business Select is twice the price, and it's not like there's a business class. Business Select gets you a priority when it comes to check-in, which is nice. It gets you a free drink, so there's $8, and it gets you free Wi-Fi, and that's $8.
A-list members.
But now you get a bag.
A-list members, Southwest credit card holders, and select customers will get 1 free checked bag. Everyone else has to pay up.
So because of my Southwest Rapid Rewards priority card, I get 1 checked bag, and I used to get 2 for free. I feel like this is one of those things that their loyal customers are going to feel instantly.
We are watching an airline self-destruct.
Airline analyst Henry Hartevelt.
This is how you destroy a brand. This is how you destroy customer preference. This is how you destroy loyalty.
And the thing I don't understand about this specific policy is even if they were just incrementally raising their prices for fares, no one knows what the base fare is on any flight because of the dynamic pricing. So I couldn't tell you what it usually costs on a low day to go from Burbank to Dallas. I don't know because it constantly is changing. Every time I open the app, it changes. So if they were to just increase the price of the tickets, I don't think we would notice it nearly as much as, oh, now you're tacking on bag fees.
And this, I think, is going to send Southwest.
I mean, this is something that happened in Vegas. Instead of just raising the prices for the hotels, they tacked on all these resort fees. So now it's $25 a night to stay at Circus Circus plus a $90 resort fee. And now what they did is they still have the resort fee, and then they jacked up all the prices where it's $100 a night to stay at Circus Circus.
And this, I think, is going to send Southwest into a financial tailspin.
The short answer is that it's about securing our future.
Southwest CEO Bob Jordan.
We are more than the logo.
And again, maybe they're losing so much money, this is their only option, but I don't know. This airline has been flying very successfully outside of the last 5 years with the sit wherever you want policy and 2 free check bags. And we have the heart for our logo because we love you.
We are more than the logo.
We love you so much, we don't even wake you up at the end of the flight to sell you the credit card. Although I bet that's coming too.
We are more than the logo on our planes. Our DNA isn't open seating or even bags fly free. It's a dedication to service.
But this was him.
No, your DNA was bags fly free. People think Southwest, they think, oh, at least I could check my bags for free.
But this was him last September.
Will bags still fly free?
Bags will still fly free, yes. It's the third thing the customers look for after fare and schedule is bags fly free on us.
Oh, so 6 months ago, the CEO said, oh, we'd never get rid of that.
97% of people are aware of our policy, so it's a huge consumer advantage.
So as long as you're at Southwest, that's not going to change.
Well, never say never.
Oh, yep. That's some CEO talk right there.
Southwest will also add a new discounted basic fare and is changing how frequent flyer points are earned and redeemed. Next year, it will drop open seating for seat assignments while adding extra legroom seats for an additional cost as the airline looks to improve profitability after struggling post-pandemic.
Nickel and dime, nickel and dime, nickel and dime, nickel and dime.
Is the Southwest that people know and love dead?
Yes, this change is just so unlike Southwest, and it really is something that I worry could be far more financially damaging to the airline than helpful.
Yeah, as much money as they're going to make from this, how much money are they going to lose by pissing off their loyal customer base that have plenty of other airlines to choose from?
The check bag fee hasn't been announced, but a source says it will be competitively priced. For CBS Mornings, I'm Chris Van Cleve in Phoenix.
You know, I'm very curious because I know there's a lot of people out there listening right now. Maybe you travel on Southwest for business. Maybe you travel on Southwest because it's usually cheaper than some of the other airlines. Will this affect your decision making the next time you go flying with your family? 800-222-KABC is the phone number, 1-800-222-5222. If you are a Southwest flyer, does the fact that Southwest is ending their 2 free check bag policy mean you're going to start rethinking what airlines you use? Because I'm going to tell you right now, as somebody that has loyally given money to this airline for over a decade, I'm definitely thinking about it. 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Now, when it comes to Burbank to Albuquerque, no other airline has that route, so I'll probably still take Southwest. But when I fly to Dallas next time, might do Burbank to DFW on American instead, because I already have the credit card for that, so I get my 1 free check bag, and American has a lounge at DFW. Southwest doesn't have any lounges or any of these other premium options that the other airlines have. But I'm curious, if you are a Southwest customer, does today's policy change mean you're rethinking your airline? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222, or, am I overreacting on this? It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Southwest Airlines made a major announcement today that's going to affect people who fly out of LAX, who fly out of John Wayne, who fly out of Burbank or Long Beach or Ontario. They're getting rid of their 2 free check bag policy, something they've had for 54 years. I want to know, if you're a regular flyer to Southwest, if that change in policy has you rethinking your airline, because it's got me rethinking that I'm going to be giving them my business when I absolutely don't have to anymore. 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Will you be rethinking your airlines in the wake of Southwest Airlines getting rid of their free check bag policy? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Your emails as well at randykabc@gmail.com, and search for the KABC News Blitz wherever you get your podcast. Easiest way to do that, go to kabc.com/newsblitz. We're taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Southwest Airlines made a major announcement today, announcing that starting at the end of May, they'll be reversing course on what might be their most popular policy: 2 bags, check for free. They're getting rid of that. They're going to charge you for bags just like all the other airlines, unless you buy the most expensive ticket or you've got the credit card, then you get 1 bag. What I'd love to know, because there's a lot of consumers out there, a lot of people that fly Southwest, is this making you rethink your airline? Will you be choosing a different airline? Will this change your airline habits? Will you be sticking with Southwest after this change? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Will Southwest's announcement today change your flying habits? Give us a call right now, 800-222-KABC. Let's go to Morris in L.A. Morris, hello.
Yeah, good afternoon. A lot of people don't understand how the airline industry works. All the airlines, such as United Air, PSA, U.S. Air, whatever it is, they don't own the aircraft. It's leased. Average leasing price is about $220,000 a month per aircraft. New, they're about $440 million each on the average. And what they're doing is that they put in a bid maybe every 6 months on a contract for fuel. And if there's going to be a fuel surcharge increase, could be as 20% because of the new Donald Trump tariffs. They predict it. Then they start to add on all kind of fees for luggage they didn't have before. In actuality, the airlines can afford to give the seats away for free. Their money is air freight, air cargo. They weigh out the air cargo versus passengers. and that is the money. So, and essentially, even if you go on an aircraft and they're half full, you say, well, how can they do it for a fly 50 or 60 people in a jet that holds 250? How can they operate? It's the air freight in the cargo system. So essentially, what that means is probably the fuel is going up per contract, and they're going to start raising money in another way to cover the fuel surcharges. So they put it out for contractual bidding about every 6 months. So even though you go to the regular gas station and may go up on your car gas, maybe every week go up to 4 cents, 5 cents, or go down, the airlines don't work that way. Fuel is sold per pound. And until something changes with that, I guess we don't know what's going on. And so when you have, like, for example, Spirit Airlines that's declared bankruptcy, they don't own the jets. All that happens when they declare bankruptcy, the leasing company takes the aircraft back. Or if they haven't paid the monthly lease, there's a hold on the aircraft and you can't take it up in the air. So basically, fuel is going to go up probably, and that's why they're starting to raise all kind of capital to cover the fuel expense. And so they stick it to you. So the best thing is to shop around and go for the lowest cost budget airline. It'll serve you just as well as the more expensive, pricier ones. It works exactly the same way.
And that's what people used to do when it came to Southwest, Morris. That's what Southwest was that low-cost budget airline. But now, because apparently you can't make money as a low-cost budget airline, like you said, Spirit's going out of business. No one knows how Avelo makes any money, that now they're all going to be high-cost airlines. Thanks so much for the call, Morris. Appreciate it. 800-222-KABC is the phone number, 1-800-222-5222. Does Southwest's announcement of getting rid of free check bags change your flying habits? It's changing mine. I don't think I'm going to completely stop using Southwest because no one else flies direct Burbank to Albuquerque. If American did, I'd think about it. But when I fly to Dallas, I could choose between Southwest or American, and I might just go American. For no other reason than I want to use my lounge credit card and go get that Admirals Club and take a whole bunch of beef jerky. Let's go to Joseph in Santa Monica. Joseph, hello.
Hi, I've been flying Southwest since they started flying to LAX, and I know how you feel. I think you just said wasn't aware of that. If you have a Rapid Reward credit card, they'll still give you one free check bag. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I don't know if that's per person or if it's just for me. Like, if I fly with my wife, does that mean I only get the one bag and she's got to pay for all her bags?
I don't. I think that they would do it like that's. United just gives you one free bag. I don't know how to answer that question, but I'm disappointed to hear that that's what they're doing. But I'm pretty well. The other thing that I don't like is the fact you can't get on the plane and choose your own seat. I mean, there's such a freedom in that. I really enjoy that. And now they're going to assign your seats. One of my relatives is a flight attendant on Southwest, and he says, "Well, it's great. It's better if you lose something on the plane, and you know what seat you're in. It'll be much easier to find it." But I don't like the fact what they're doing, and I certainly don't like not being able to just choose my own seat and go in there and have the freedom of doing that.
Yeah, they're completely they're rethinking and changing everything that made Southwest Southwest. And now, what exactly is the difference between them and another carrier? And honestly, at least from everything I see right now, at least the other carriers have better mileage rates on their programs. Southwest's miles aren't worth anything these days.
Okay. Well, thanks, Randy.
Thanks so much for the call, Joseph. Appreciate it. Just based on my experience, and I have a lot of these credit cards, American miles seem to go a little further, but you can't transfer Amex miles to American miles. But because Hawaiian and Alaska merged, now you can transfer your Amex points to Hawaiian, transfer Hawaiian to Alaska, and Alaska is a one world partner, so you can book an American flight on Alaska with Alaska miles, where it's like 7,000 miles to go from LAX to Dallas. This is what I occupy my free time with. They call it travel hacking, and it's kind of an addiction because I got a lot of points and I don't know what to do with them. 800-222-KABC is the phone number, 1-800-222-5222. Let's go to George in Simi Valley. George, hello.
Hi, Randy. One group of people it's really going to impact your skiers. I go skiing a lot. I drive up to Mammoth, but I also do 1 week somewhere in the West. This year I went to Steamboat Springs, and you could actually have 2 bags for your skis, one bag for boots, one bag for skis, and that counted as one of your 2 bags. And so you could actually get 3 bags on. And if you try and ship your skis or do anything else like that, it's an extra $100 each way. So that really impacts the skiers. And when you would go, like at Steamboat, the Southwest flight was cramped, and every other person that flew the Steamboat, those planes are half empty. It's mainly because the skis went for free.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big impact on their flights to places like Tahoe, on their flights to places like Denver. And maybe if they see enough negative reaction from the consumer, they'll reverse that policy because it sure is upsetting to me. Thanks for the call, George. Appreciate it. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. Southwest is ditching bags fly free. Your reaction, 800-222-KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. If you'd like to email us, you could do so at randykabc@gmail.com. Penny writes in and says, you're not overreacting, Randy. A deal's a deal, and we're all looking for the best for our money. It's true for me, and I'm sure that's true for you. Hey, look at this. This is really cool. 790 KABC welcomes an evening with the dude. A screening of The Big Lebowski, followed by a moderated conversation with Jeff Bridges, the dude. It's at the Orpheum Theater on April 16th. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com, but right now, call in number 9 at 1-888-790-5222. Gets a pair of tickets to the show. Tickets furnished by Live Nation. The dude abides. If you're on hold, stay on hold. We'll get to you next as we talk Southwest ditching bags flying for free. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. Let's get back to the phones. Go to Mike in Redondo. Mike, hello.
Hey, how are you? Thank you for taking my call.
Doing great.
So I just got a quick question. How long do you think before whoever's in charge of Southwest gets fired? Because, I mean, the airline itself isn't all that great. They don't have TVs. Like, there's no way they can keep up with Delta. Like, I fly all the time. I coach youth hockey. My kids love to fly because their bag and their sticks go for free. There's no way we're going to fly Southwest. Like, it's going to – I mean, I don't know about you, but you fly there all the time. I mean, is it really all that much better than anyone else? I mean, you can't sit where you want, you can't bring bags. I mean, they're pretty much Spirit Air with a little bit more legroom.
Pretty much. I mean, that was the thing that was like, okay, I'll put up with everything else and I'll put up with the little bit of leg room because the bags fly for free and it makes me think that they got my back. And now it turns out they're turning on their customers. I know that the activist investors that own 10% of the company now, they want the CEO out immediately, but they want him out because he didn't implement these changes sooner.
But you know what, though? I mean, if you really look at who's flying Southwest, it's blue collar people. They're not going to want to spend that extra money when they can just go on Delta then. You know what I mean? It's going to end up becoming the same thing.
I think you're totally right, Mike. Thanks so much for the call. As always, appreciate it. Let's go to Anna in Irvine. Anna, hello.
Hey, Randy. I figured out a way to save some money, and basically, even though it's not my favorite airline, I go directly to the airport, to the Spirit desk, and I can buy the ticket for about 50% less than what's online.
I didn't even know you could still buy tickets at the desk.
You can legally with Spirit because their headquarters is in the United States, is what they told me. So you basically don't pay the taxes, most of the taxes and what have you. So what I do is I then upgrade to the bigger seat. You know what I mean, with the free bag and what have you, and it ends up being cheaper.
Wow, that's a great little tip. I love that,
I've done it
Anna.
100 times. I've done it 100 times, so believe me.
I believe you.
Yep.
That's great. Wow, thanks so much for that tip, Anna. Appreciate it. So go to the airport in person, and with Spirit, you can actually buy it. Well, until Spirit goes completely out of business, that will work. But I think they're going to get absorbed by one of the other companies any day now. But it's always interesting to see what's going on with the airlines, the mergers, the changing of policies, because I'm very interested in travel. You know how many travel cards I have? Let's see if I can count them all. I've got the Chase Southwest Rapid Rewards card. But then I also have the Chase Sapphire card, which is a travel card, kind of like an Amex, where your points can go to a whole bunch of different airlines, including Southwest. So I have found that it makes more sense to use that card because I can choose, do my points go to Southwest or they go to a different airline? I have the Citibank American Airlines card that gets you the Admirals Club, which I just got that one. I've had the Citi American card forever, but they offered me an upgrade to this card, and it was like, well, that could be worth it if we're planning on traveling internationally. You know, get that lounge access, make the money back and all the free snacks and drinks. And then I've got the Amex card, which is, I mean, it's the gold standard. 4x points at restaurants and grocery stores, and you could transfer those points to a whole bunch of different partners. And I told you, the latest hack is you go Amex to Hawaiian, Hawaiian to Alaska. In Alaska, you can book American because you couldn't transfer any of these things to American, but you can now. Well, we'll find out if this change pisses off Southwest fan base to the point where they reverse course. Thanks so much for listening. As always, it's a pleasure to do this every day. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC.